GM, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Slightly earlier on the GM stream today, as I'm actually about to go to the airport, as I've got a flight this morning. So I'm going to keep this fairly brief. As we can see, Bitcoin on the 4 hour here is starting to pull back. So what I really want to see from Bitcoin for the rest of today is us to hold above the previous all-time high. So this is coming in around about 103,500, and that is where we've sort of wicked into at the moment. We are consolidating just above that level, and if we do come down lower, the next level I have is around about just shy of 102,000, about 108, 101.8, which is obviously another resistance level that we saw, which hopefully we've now flipped to support. So I'm really expecting Bitcoin not to trade too much lower than this over the next day. And I'll be looking for a bounce either from here, or if we do go a little bit lower, potentially down to around about 102. Like I said, we still have this ascending trend line, which might come into play. And if we just move over to our other chart here, we can see we've literally respected the top of this channel exactly. It looked yesterday like we might actually break out above the top of this and see an accelerated move higher. Obviously, that's not happened. And we can also look at a mid-range for this channel as well. And we can say at the moment that we're actually sort of coming down and looking to respect that sort of mid-range level, which often these channels can do, a little bit like when you've got a horizontal range and you look at the 50% level. That's kind of what the level is right now that we're retesting. And obviously we're currently sort of retesting the all-time high prior to this week. So not too much of a concern there. If we look at our liquidation heat map, we can see here that we've got some liquidity just sitting below price. So this is kind of going down to around about 102,500. And then the rest of the liquidity is really above. We've got a little bit down at 100K as well. So I would think that we should see a bounce from 102,500 if we get there. Obviously, if we did want to come all the way down, we could go as low as 100,000. For me, that would not be a major concern. If we did come down to, say, for example, the bottom of this channel here, then that would be around about 99,500, or call it 100,000 potentially by the time we get down there. So that would literally just be a back test of the high that we made last month before obviously breaking out at the start of this month. So yeah, Bitcoin is still looking constructive here. Like I say, possible bounce where we are here, possible bounce around 102,000, taking out that first area of liquidations. And then if we don't bounce either of those regions, I'll be expecting us to probably come down to test 100K. But obviously, let's take it one level at a time. Just moving over to Ethereum then. So Ethereum is currently at support from this descending trend line. So this is obviously the trend line that's connecting previous bull market highs to this current cycle high. So we've got a long-term trend line in play here. And what we've said over the last couple of days is that we want to see Ethereum find acceptance above this descending trend line and acceptance above 4,000. We've struggled again to hold above 4,000. So naturally, we've come back to our nearest support, which is this descending trend line. Obviously, if we do fail here, then look for price probably to come down to around about 3.69, 3.7. Around about that level will be the next major area for Ethereum. So again, a little bit like Bitcoin, if Bitcoin does break down and look to come down to 102, I expect maybe Ethereum goes for a deeper pullback to around about 3.7. And from there, if Bitcoin goes all the way down to 100K, then we'd probably be looking at this 0.5 level. Obviously, we've got these wicks here and sort of previous order blocks in play down at around about sort of 3.5 to 3.6. So we might get as low as 3.5s on Ethereum. I don't really see us going much lower than that, providing Bitcoin behaves itself and stays trading above 100,000. Solana then is continuing to stay within this descending channel. And for me, this is for any trader, this is really resembling sort of a bull flag. You've got a fast run up, followed by some consolidation. And I think that Solana probably grinds in around here, potentially comes down and retests the 200 level. I've said I think Solana can go as low as this descending trend line around about 190. So this is similar to the trend line that obviously Ethereum is still finding support at right now. Solana has been leading, has been stronger than Ethereum over the last few months, and it has broken this descending trend line. So I'm expecting Ethereum probably to do something similar to what Solana's done to actually push up to its previous all-time high around about 4.9, potential consolidation and breakout from there. Obviously, Solana is a step ahead. It's broken out from this descending trend line, retested its previous all-time high, and now it looks like it might go for a retest. Obviously, it will depend on what Bitcoin does to give it some direction for the rest of today. And we can see Pepe is also starting to pull back here. If we just go down to the 4 hour, we can see I've drawn on this ascending trend line. Pepe currently below that, but it's coming in and finding support around its 618. So I'm expecting a bit of a bounce for Pepe here. If it can regain this ascending trend line, and if Bitcoin and the rest of the market start to pull up, I expect Pepe to reclaim this and pull up and potentially rally up fairly aggressively back to highs at some point soon. However, if the market does want to try a little bit lower, potentially Pepe could come down a bit further, and the next target after this area would be the 786. So that's coming in around about 1963. So those are the levels I'm looking at in terms of the cryptos today, the crypto majors. Obviously, DXY consolidating. We've got FOMC today. So that should give us some direction on the DXY, and the stock markets currently still trading very, very close to the new all-time highs. Obviously, new all-time highs made at the start of this week. So looking very strong there. So just going back then to Bitcoin, and in terms of what I'm expecting, obviously we've got FOMC today. And remember, FOMC potentially can make traders a bit nervous. They see it as a risk event, or as an event-driven risk for the market. So it could be possible that Powell might say something that could upset the market, that could give the market some jitters, that could cause traders to want to de-risk or reduce exposure. So what traders will often do is they will front run that event, they will de-risk into that event. And obviously, if the event goes well, and if there's nothing to be concerned about, if there's no major worries or concerns after today's meeting, and if the speech goes well from Powell, if he hints at potentially further monetary easing or putting assets back onto the Fed's balance sheet, which we've been talking about, then this will give traders the confidence to then re-enter sort of higher risk positions, and we're likely to see markets then move higher from there. So obviously a pretty big day today. I have no idea with which way it's going to go, but I am expecting a 0.25 basis point cut, and probably a fairly dovish Jerome Powell, obviously being fairly mindful of keeping a strong labor market, and sort of seeing off, or trying to push back any risks of a recession. Obviously, inflation has been rising slightly, but not enough to derail the Fed from cutting interest rates a bit more, I feel. So that's obviously going to be important data later on today. But aside from that, like I say, I'm expecting Bitcoin probably to dig in here, retesting previous all-time highs. I think, look, for this one, like I say, the main levels are going to be this level here, which we're currently above, which is this 103,000. If that gets lost, then the next level for me is going to be this 101.5. And if that gets lost, we're down to 100K, and potentially testing the lower side of this ascending channel. So thank you very much for watching. I'm going to wrap it there. Have a great day, and I will talk to you all on the next one. GM.